Hello and welcome into the latest episode of Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and today we go over a potential trade target for the Patriots that ends up in the NFC, an update on the health of Stephon Diggs, the NFL schedule ranking, and Gronk dishing on some draft day drama. Before we get started on everything, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think about the latest top wide receiver to not end up on the Patriots. And make sure you go back and check out our other episodes to get caught up on everything to do with your New England Patriots. We start today looking at that trade acquisition for the Dallas Cowboys, who end up going after former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, George Pickens. This offseason, he had seen his name thrown out a lot, especially after the Steelers decided to trade for DK Metcalf, giving up that draft compensation before signing him to that long-term deal. Ended up making George Pickens expendable, still on that rookie contract, and the Steelers decide to actually move him off of the roster. Pickens showing some great talent early in his career, but not always seemingly on the right side of the coaching staff or teammates at times. The Cowboys willing to make concessions and make this deal happen, actually acquiring Pickens and a sixth-round pick, giving up a third and fifth rounder. This seemingly was the trade compensation package all along, and the Steelers deciding not to pull the trigger on trade compensation in this year's draft, but actually getting it for 2026. A little surprising, but more so seeing out there that Patriots fans are upset that they did not actually give up the third themselves and go get Drake May, another option. It's really not that surprising when you take a deeper dive into it. With Drake May at the helm, you have a young second-year quarterback who only has a handful of starts under his belt. In the same vein, why they traded Joe Milton away, you want to make sure you are surrounding and insulating your young quarterback with team-first guys who are going to sacrifice themselves and put the betterment of that team ahead of their own individual numbers, which unfortunately George Pickens has not shown that he can always do that. He's had several incidents, usually with the opposition, after the whistle, playing too hard. There have been instances that would not translate over well. So for the Patriots, it really wouldn't make sense, even though you would have a very talented wide receiver at your disposal, and one that could potentially, depending upon the health of Stephon Diggs, be your number one wide receiver. Again, I think Pats fans will be quick to point out that you should give up a third rounder for a potential first round pick. But in this instance, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Potentially, if this were a year or two later and Drake May was more established and perennially in that discussion as a top quarterback and not learning his way in the NFL, it might make more sense. And while, yes, you are not adding talent for a limited draft compensation, right now the Patriots made the right move in not getting George Pickens. Speaking of that number one wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, the number one wide receiver for the Patriots right now, is still not cleared for practice, as he is just 6 months removed from that ACL tear and continuing to work his way back from injury. That said, that doesn't mean he's not working hard and could be cleared soon enough. I think week one is still in the cards for him and could be a factor early on, but if the Patriots choose to play it safe, it would not be overly surprising. Additionally, Patriots teammates have noticed Diggs working extremely hard, and I think they would probably expect him to be out there for week one. Patriots reserve tight end Austin Hooper, and yeah, in certain sets, he's a starting tight end, especially in that 12 personnel, was quoted on talking about Stephon Diggs and what he's bringing to the table. And he said it was energy, man. You can see he's a freak, he said of Diggs. I know he just came off of what he came off of, and you can see him already with the explosion, the change of direction, and the top end. It's like, dang, dude, he must be nice. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to work with a proven veteran, good player in this league. high praise from Austin Hooper, who is a proven veteran good player in this league in his own right. But the fact that he's already talking about the explosion and being surprised by what Diggs is able to offer bodes well for him being able to contribute early and hopefully being able to develop a early rapport with Drake May, as that remains the priority for the young Patriot signal caller. Additionally, we look at what could bode very well for the Patriots and being a little bit on the younger side outside of Diggs on the offensive side of the ball. The Patriots checking in with the second easiest schedule in the NFL right now. Again, these things will change as the NFL schedule is released and as games start to be played. But at least right now, looking at the opposition and opponents, we know home and away, not knowing when they are. But the Patriots checking in at number 2 overall behind only the San Francisco 49ers. The New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons, and Buffalo Bills check in at 3, 4, 5, respectively. But the Patriots, again, we said, looking at it, there is a path to 10 wins. And the reason why there is because it is an easier schedule just based upon the results of the teams that they face and match up against in this schedule. Also, it looks like the Giants, the Browns, the Lions, the Eagles, and the Vikings could have a potential tough go of it. Circle those down, especially for 3 playoff teams in the Lions, Eagles, and Vikings, as the top 5 toughest schedules going. Again, I think the Patriots, because of the schedule, because of a new head coach, because of the development of a second-year quarterback, because of a new culture, because of a good draft, because of a top free agent class. Everything has been positive around this Patriots team. This easy NFL schedule is another big positive in the path forward for a Patriots team that really seems to be in shape to, at the very least, compete for a playoff spot. Speaking of that draft that went really well for the Patriots, it was many years ago now that it really went well when they acquired second-round draft pick out of Arizona, Rob Gronkowski. Making their media rounds on Wednesday, Gronk revealed that he actually found out a lot more about what went down on draft day regarding his status. He actually came out and said that the Baltimore Ravens were ready to select him actually in the first round, number 25 overall. You remember that Gronk did slip a bit because of that injury history that he had at Arizona and the concerns about his neck and back. That's why he slipped out of the first round. But apparently, if the Ravens didn't have a deal on the table, would have taken him in the first. The reason they didn't have a deal in the first, because, well, offensive coordinator for the Patriots right now, Josh McDaniel, who is the head coach for the Denver Broncos, decided to pull the trigger on a first-round deal and select Tim Tebow. Yes, the maligned NFL quarterback, but one of the greatest college players of all time, and probably just good, upstanding human being overall, but deciding to get him by pulling the trigger on the deal. So Tim Tebow actually bumps Gronk out of the first round, as does Josh McDaniels, but also reportedly that the Ravens were ready to go back and take Gronk again at 43 overall. Gronk says that the Patriots actually got wind that this was going to be the plan. It was actually Scott Pioli, the then player personnel director, found out and decided to pick up the phones and move ahead one spot of the Ravens and actually take Rob Gronkowski there and stick it to the Baltimore franchise another time. Additionally, Gronk kept dishing on the draft and says if he ended up on the Ravens, he found out the Patriots would have gotten a tight end anyways by dealing for tight end Greg Olsen. What could have been, but happy what did happen because Gronk ends up as one of the greatest tight ends of all time, a veritable shoo-in for the Patriots Hall of Fame, if not NFL Hall of Fame, and hoisting a couple Lombardis on top of it. Interesting to see when players do find out about what actually shook out for their draft experience and play the what if game for your favorite NFL franchise. That'll do it for us on this episode of Pat's Latest. We'll continue to bring you everything you need to know about your New England Patriots. In the meantime, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think of the Patriots schedule and what their overall record will be in 2025. Make sure you give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out all our old episodes. We'll continue to have everything here for you. Fight on, Foxborough.